everybody, and welcome to our Week 17 Q&A here on the Charm City Sideline podcast. I am Zach, and my co-host Bradley is on your right, and the other voice you're going to be hearing tonight. We have a few great topics to get into, ladies and gentlemen, but before we do so, we would appreciate it so much if you subscribed. We are so close to 1K. It would be the Christmas present me and Brad would be asking for, is for you guys to help us get to 1K. If you have not already, we appreciate you if you have. So, Brad, Ravens season in total peril. We can put it pretty bluntly right now. It's out of our hands. Destiny's out of our hands. There's a few fun notes to talk about today. That starts with the Pro Bowlers. Zay Flowers, Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum, Patrick Ricard, Roquan Smith, Jordan Stout. Very deserving for those guys. One of the most in the NFL, as in the number of Pro Bowlers for a team. What are you thinking for maybe someone that you expected to be on this list very much and then maybe a little unexpected?
Yeah, I would say expected Kyle Hamilton, Ricard, Linderbaum, Roquan, just because of the names that they are. I don't think Roquan's having a great season, but like he's an easy guy to vote for to get him into the Pro Bowl. Hamilton obviously 100% deserves it. So does Linderbaum. Ricard, I think it's like what other fullback is gonna get in? You know what I mean? Like everyone knows who Pat Ricard is. Jordan Stout, 100% deserved. I wasn't expecting him to get in because
Me too.
it's usually just like what punter has the most followers on Instagram, like usually is who. What punter has the slightest bit of social media personality is like who's going to be the Pro Bowl punter. And really great to see Stout do it. I think he's first in the NFL in net yardage per punt. He was like an average to below average punter the first 3 years of his career. And then this year in his fourth year, contract year, he's like the best in the league. So that's been awesome to see. Shout out to him. And then Zay Flowers, who has, I think, 1,049 yards right now, something like that. One of my friends who is not a Ravens fan texted me, like asking me why Zay Flowers is in the Pro Bowl. He has the eighth most yards in the NFL for receivers. 8 receivers make the Pro Bowl. Like, and he has the third most yards in the AFC. So,
Hmm.
like, he's going to be in it. I think he deserves it. He's having a really good year. He is on pace for like 1,200 yards, maybe a little bit more than that. Barely hit 1,000 last year. So, I think honestly the most deserving I'd say are Zay, Hamilton, Linderbaum, and Stout. Ricard and Roquan are questionable in my opinion.
Hmm.
But like I'd say the names definitely got them there.
Yeah, Zay is the questionable one for me. Like, as in, yeah, I know his stats are willing to put him in that conversation, and I think third is a pretty good spot for him, anyways. But still, the a couple of just key factors is fumbles outweighing touchdowns, the weird kind of aura around him right now, where it doesn't feel like he's a star wide receiver in the NFL, but also there's been moments that show you he can be. So maybe it's the fan base, as in you guys, the Ravens flock, saying like, let's get this guy in the Pro Bowl, keep him as that premier wide receiver in Baltimore. But also, like, I, I think so many of us think of him in a way now where it's a little more misdemeaning in how we think of him maybe as a premier two and not a one anymore. It's just so interesting. And I was definitely not expecting that. Probably more of my image of him now, not necessarily the bigger picture, like you said, with those stats. So I appreciate that though. Um, I I get so surprised by it every year with Roquan, even though I think it's also just as obvious. Like his game goes so under the radar now that it just feels like it's whenever I read it, I'm thinking, oh, Roquan made it. Nice. It's just that's who he is. He's a bona fide stud at the middle linebacker, inside linebacker position. Uh, but this is a comment from It's KP1, got voted solely based off his name. I'm I'm almost leaning towards that. I'm not though. I think his stats are very obvious for why he would be in this situation. As I'm sure he is top, um, somewhere top of the league in tackles, and also leading the Ravens by a mile now. I think Buchanan was close, but now he's going to soar far above him. And Roquan is still the face technically of the Baltimore Ravens defense. So also when we've seen the good parts of the Ravens, I think it also comes under Roquan's hat. But great comment from Bilal. Patrick Ricard coming back from injury to also still be on this list shows that he is the clear-cut best fullback in the league. So happy for him. That was nice to see. I think someone like Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews were all named alternates. So they might end up in it, given, if some guy is in the Super Bowl and they're then kicked out. But happy for them. And I think the fan base is just so in love with Pat Ricard, just like Dawson has just commented here, Pat's favorite player. Now included in kick returns. That's funny. I noticed that too. I think the team is just hanging their hat on the fact that these guys are on this team and are capable of being a winning franchise. So the conversations we're going to get into here shortly with total picture kind of stuff, whether that means Bisciotti, DaCosta, Harbaugh, they still know that this team is capable of making deep runs with this core group. But very impressed with Jordan Stout's turnaround. We used to talk about him and bash him, maybe not you and me specifically, but bash him as in we put a draft pick on the line for a punter like this. And I think it was a high capital one. I say that.
It was a fourth round pick.
There you go. It's impressive to see him fully come to the idea that we had of him in that draft process now, where he's a full-blown great punter and is showing it week in and week out. I start to feel a little more confident now every week when we need that big time punt that's inside the 15, 10, 5. And he's delivered on that many, many times. And also totally flipped field position, as in maybe we're backed up to the 30, the 40. We might need it this week against the Packers where we really back them up. I just am so impressed with sticking to the roster in that point of view, where the Ravens, and I think the fan base too, sees a bunch of these players on the roster as capable of moving on from. And the organization and the front office have said, please just give them time. Like, let's really let them cook under this and marinate and become the Baltimore Raven that we had pictured them to be. And now we're seeing that fully as Jordan Stout's like bloomed into a great punter in the NFL. It's such a great story for him and for the team too, to also show their strength as John Harbaugh's technical strength with special teams and showing that this was the right pick. That's a little tangent, I guess, for a punter, which you never get to have, but I had fun just thinking about him and the bigger picture with him as a Raven.
Yeah. Just as you were talking, I looked up highest paid punters in the NFL. The most guaranteed money a punter is currently getting over the course of their whole entire contract, $11 million guaranteed for AJ Cole of the Raiders. The most per year someone's getting is $4 million, Michael Dixon on the Seahawks. So like Jordan Stout could be punting himself to a $4 million a year contract. Like that's awesome for him.
Wow.
So that's cool. And he definitely deserves it. Interestingly, do you have the running backs who made the Pro Bowl, or
I do not.
I'll pull it up because I'm interested.
Who made it over Henry?
Yeah, so
that's pretty impressive to beat him out. I don't know if that was again like a fan base kind of thing or what.
Of course, this article I find is sorted by team. Okay, AFC Pro Bowl roster: Jonathan Taylor, Achane, and James Cook.
They've been.
I guess that makes sense. So this is kind of similar to receiver, where there's a lot more elite receivers in the NFC. So a lot more elite running backs in the AFC. Because I'm looking at rushing yards right now, and Derrick Henry's fourth in rushing yards. Only 3 running backs make the Pro Bowl. James Cook, Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane are the 3 guys that have more rushing yards than Derrick Henry. They're all in the AFC. So 4 AFC running backs are top 4 in rushing yards in the NFL. Yards after contact, Derrick Henry's 5th in the league, which is very impressive, 849 yards after contact. Having a very, very good season that's being overshadowed by bad Ravens season. He's has over 1,200 yards right now with 2 games to
Wow.
go. Like, and he's what, 31? Like that is
That's sick.
crazy. He has 251 carries this year, 12 rushing touchdowns. So shout out to Derrick Henry, and then just a couple more stats on Zay Flowers because I do want to defend him a little bit. I mean, I think he deserves it. I think he is. I mean, he's eighth in the NFL in receiving yards. Like I
Yeah.
mentioned, 8 receivers make the Pro Bowl. The touchdown numbers have not been there for him. They just haven't. His whole career, it's been like that. Um, Yards per route run, he is seventh in the NFL. The only guys that are above him: Puka Nakua, JSN, CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, Amon-Ra, and George Pickens. Those are the only guys that average more yards per route run than Zay Flowers in the NFL this year. It's very impressive. I think the fumbles and the juking backwards sort of puts a shadow on how Ravens fans think of him and how NFL fans think of him, when in reality, he is a top 10 receiver in the NFL this year. And the Ravens had a Pro Bowl receiver. Was it ever?
Yeah.
And 2 years in a row, it's Zay Flowers. I think Ravens fans should be appreciating him a little bit more. I understand he's not a perfect player, but this is the first time, literally, in the Ravens' history of being an organization that they have drafted an elite receiver. So I think we should be grateful for that. Does he need to improve on things? Yeah. So does CeeDee Lamb. So does Drake London. So does George Pickens. Like, there's very few perfect receivers in the NFL. So shout out to Zay Flowers for making a second Pro Bowl in a row.
Yeah, that's big time. Yeah, I guess I'm also surprised that even someone like Mark Andrews was named an alternate. I don't know if he's even over like 600 yards this year. I'm pretty shocked about that.
I saw a graphic or a stat. Mark Andrews is like last in the NFL in yards after catch for tight ends. Like, he's like last per catch.
Like
Per
all
catch.
tight ends.
Like, there had to have been some minimum amount of catches. Like, I think there was like 40 guys on the list or something like that. And so,
jeez,
everyone knows I wasn't happy about that extension. Sunday's game did not help.
Especially like this is funny to watch it back, that we were like, oh, it's probably the play call.
Yeah,
Don't
we were
worry
like,
about it. And then Harbaugh's like, yeah, I don't know what he was doing. He just acted on instinct.
like,
oh my gosh, what?
Like, I was like, there's no way. I was like, and I wish they didn't extend Mark Andrews, right? Love him as a person, love him as like a player, what he's done for the team. I wish they didn't extend him, and I was like, there's no way he just would have done that offense. Like, that had to have been a play, miscommunication, something had to have happened. And then 20 minutes later, while we were still live, John Harbaugh was like, yeah, he just decided to do that. Like, what? What in the world?
Completely
what is going
butthead.
on with him?
I don't know. That was. I would love to hear it from him. I don't think he's talked to the media yet. I'm sure he would have a very like, I'm a football player answer, like some stupid crap that you can't disagree with. It just sucked to see. I was so like, that was really my last kind of bit of trust I had in him. I'm an Andrews truther, and especially on this podcast. And what in the world? Like, you'd mentioned in the last one too, he is always on the end of this, like always a part of this.
He's always like, near the fire. He's always
one of these stupid plays. Mark Andrews is a part of it, and it sucks. I love Mark Andrews, and this is happening. I truly dumbfounded. Don't know what to say about that. Any other love you want to get to? Oh yeah.
Just to like rehash the Andrews thing a little bit. I mentioned, I think, or at least I texted you. I don't know if I mentioned it in our like reaction to him being extended or not, but like I was like, this isn't a likely versus Andrew thing in my opinion. This is a they should not be paying Mark Andrews.
Hmm.
That had nothing to do with Isaiah Likely. And honestly, I think I would have paid Charlie Kolar, not Andrews or Likely. I know Likely's not having a great year. He's had a really rough couple of weeks. I would have paid, if especially a midseason extension, I would have given that to Kolar, seen how Likely and Andrews finished the season, maybe, and pick one of them, maybe pick neither of them.
Yeah.
I think Kolar, first of all, would have been cheap. Second of all, I think he's like the guy you can. I don't know if I'd say trust the most, but for the amount of money that they're demanding, I think that would have been the safest contract of the three of them.
I think it's safe to say that's the stupidest move DaCosta's made all year of the last season or so.
I can't think of a move he's made in his whole time as GM that I've disagreed with more.
It to not like at least let the season end, as when you were talking with Likely apparently about an extension way back then, and apparently very close to an agreement, that gets taken away from the injury, which sucks. But does that mean way back then you were saying Likely over Andrews? Because why now in the middle of the season where your team's in peril and everyone's like the house is burning down, let's freaking give the extension out? Is that not affecting the locker room at all, or at least what Isaiah Likely is thinking? Now we're seeing videos of Likely saying this team is ass or whatever after the game. Like, I think he knows his time might be up, and just a small little seed in this big picture, in this big garden that is the freaking Ravens, that's souring everything. Like, a very small note, but why add to the fire? Like, that's just so stupid. Just a dumb thing to happen. And it's a different discussion too if Andrews is having a Pro Bowl Mark Andrews season. Then we're like, you know what? Okay, extension's warranted. There is no real stat that anyone can show me right now that extension was worth it and also needed in the middle of the season. Like, truly dumb. I don't get that at all.
There's like one really good play he's made this year that I can think of, and it's the out route against the Lions on 3rd and goal from like the 12 or the 13. It was a great catch. It was a even better throw, but like that was a like Mark Andrews play. And also early in the Patriots game, he was running a crosser to the right off a play action, and he stopped, cut back left. Lamar knew he was going to do it, hit him for a big gain, and right there I was like, this is why Eric DaCosta extended Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
And then he's silent for the rest of the game, including like the dumbest thing I've ever seen on a football field. And it's just like that. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, never mind. Like, combined with like I love him. He like every time he scores, I'm so hyped. Like, this is not a personal thing at all.
Right.
He is the worst yak tight end in the NFL. Like, on top of everything. Like, I don't know, man.
And it didn't used to be like that either. Like, it's not like this has always been a thing for Mark Andrews. And also, I just don't understand paying him like that much. Like, paying him like a franchise level tight end when this year you haven't really you've seen, like you just said, maybe 2 glimpses of it. What makes you want to pay a guy $13 million, especially when you're looking at guys like Tyler Linderbaum, who's playing his freaking butt off right now, and all the way down to someone like Zay in the future, maybe like a Marlon situation. You might have been able to, if the season continues as it was going as of that point, which is how it definitely looks now, if not worse. By the end of the season, you can pay both Likely and Andrews, maybe combined, a little bit more than 13 million combined. They're playing that bad. And I just as a front office ideal kind of situation, really dumbfounded by that. You could have paid Mark Andrews $13 million no matter what. If he ended the season as a superstar tight end, you could have paid him $13 million. So dumb. Like, we can have too many conversations about, like, too many different topics to say this. Again, we love Mark Andrews. It's not like this is like a vendetta that he should be on the team, some bull crap.
Yeah.
He's a generational guy. It's just that as thinking as the junkies that I've said a couple times now that we are, who makes that move
Yeah. Yeah.
as a front
I
office guy?
can't
I don't know.
understand it. It's like, and you and me, like, we've talked about how much we like Mark Andrews as a player and as a person. You know, when GMs say like it's a business, like it sucks, but it's a business. Like you and me are talking about that aspect of things right now. Like we wouldn't have done that from a business perspective.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I really don't understand it. It's similar to like when NFL teams or college football teams, Penn State with James Franklin. It's like you don't have to fire them during the season. Like you can see how the season
Yeah.
plays out. You don't have to do that. And for like firing a coach mid-season just adds controversy. The interim, they win 3 games in a row with the interim. All the players want you to keep the interim. Like it just there's no point. I understand if it's like terrible. Like if you're 0-7, I understand firing your head coach, but like just doing things mid-season like this doesn't make that much sense to me. It's different when you are like the Marlon Humphrey extension when in 2020 or whatever, like you're beating the market. Like he was a top 5 corner in the league. This is an example I don't understand.
Yeah, Michael with a good comment. It might be about keeping Lamar more than anything. That's true. If this was a Lamar ask, I think Lamar says yes 100 times out of 100. So maybe it was a keep the big man happy situation, but also what you mentioned there about the coaching situation and like keeping Harbaugh around and like even though this year has been crappy and we almost expect him to be fired by the end of the year, keeping him around still it almost like is hypocritical of that first point of the Mark Andrews thing. Like the Ravens front office is like basically going against themselves, saying like, "Oh, we can wait the entire year now for someone like Likely to give him an extension, but let's give Mark Andrews the extension. Let's wait on John Harbaugh." I don't think those interlock anyway as in a philosophy too. But then it makes me think about how this team is almost has like this family kind of mafia, like we keep our guys with us when we know they're our guys kind of thing, which then kind of brings us to our second topic that we wanted to talk about tonight, which is Steve Bisciotti, his thoughts and maybe the thought process of going about this John Harbaugh situation, and that means firing him or keeping him, making some big change. Uh, how do we think he feels? Uh, Even a great question that you brought up. What it's the fan base thoughts gonna be if there is or isn't a move? Like we're beginning to enter like the rioting territory of if there isn't a move, then what we're seeing here at the end of the year with this home games where no one's in the stands by the fourth quarter and all, like you could see that all next year if the Ravens are anything like this. Like, yeah, we expect the Ravens to be a lot better next year, but also we expect them to be a whole lot better next year if it's a new roster and a new head coach. It'll be a different conversation. So, Brad, what do you think about Steve Bisciotti and the weight on his shoulders regarding this situation?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think he definitely wants to win, but we've talked about this in the past. Owners care much more about fans in the seats than winning. Um, and this year has been bad in terms of, there's been a lot of empty fourth quarters. Are they 0-3 in home primetime games, I think? Like,
Oh,
it's been bad. Um, like, you got people leaving early at home primetime games. Like, he obviously sees that. And that's just from the business perspective. From the football perspective, he has to understand, like, what is going on. Like, it is so obvious. Like, that it's just stale. And I think these players like Van Noy at one point, Kyle Hamilton at one point, are getting like these lobs thrown to them to sort of like address John Harbaugh and
yeah,
say
they
how
are.
good of a coach he's been and all that. And they kind of like don't do that. They kind of just say like, oh yeah, I don't really even know what the message's been. It's just been really tough. Like they're not saying anything negative about him for sure. But they're not like glazing him either. And I think when a coach has control of his locker room and full respect of his locker room, they will take any opportunity to fully embrace him when asked about their head coach, and I'm not seeing that right now. So you just got to feel that Steve Bisciotti understands that. And I don't know. So in terms of like what I feel like he might be thinking, um I don't know. It's there was that quote from John Harbaugh where he was asked about um has Steve Bisciotti basically gave him any reassurance about still being the coach next year, and what your future is. And I believe he just said something like the future is the Green Bay Packers on Saturday. Like he said
Yeah.
something along those lines. So like that tells you that at the very least Steve Bisciotti hasn't gone to him and said you're
Your
definitely the
job's
head coach
safe.
next year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's at least been he's at least I think thinking about it.
I think so too. And to take you back to the last time the Ravens considered this, which was apparently the 2017 season, the Ravens were 9-7 in the division. The Steelers were 13-3 team. No matter what, you're basically not going to win in the division. This year, it's totally different. You had injuries, yeah, and you go into a season that is totally open in the playoffs. 2017, we're not thinking about the Joe Flacco led Ravens making the playoffs and you're going to have a real shot at it. Like, that's not the reality of the 2017
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore Ravens. With Lamar Jackson, it feels like anything's possible.
Yeah.
And you go to this time where I don't think the roster has ever been as good on paper. And you have now a whole season ahead of you, on off season, I should say, ahead of you, that you can change the dynamic of this organization for the future and how the mentality and the reputation the Ravens have, which is some uh, play like a Raven, hard nosed, defensive level stuff. You can change that by not only if it is just a head coach. I know you and me both want an offensive guy. If it is a defensive guy, fully leaning into that side. Yeah. Could you imagine the Ravens this season, the last couple seasons, where the first 5 or 6, I guess you can even go all the way up to like 12 weeks of football is not this slouched over defensive football and you start hot with Lamar Jackson at quarterback? It's a dream come true. There's so many pluses to a head coach of any kind in a situation like next year, especially when you have a GM as good as DaCosta to retool and reassess everybody. There's so many routes that may happen, could happen. It goes all the way to like someone like Matabike and how his status is for the future. So I know there's a lot of dominoes to fall still, but Steve Bisciotti, if he is an owner that's thinking about the future and this idea that the team is getting stale now, when you have a top tier NFL player on your team and a roster full of studs that are capable of winning a Super Bowl, there's no other direction it can go. Like, there's no other route that you should be telling yourself unless it's delusional. Like, you can't keep saying that John Harbaugh is a Super Bowl caliber head coach now in the league. Like, he's not meant to be some guy that's commanding an army to go into an AFC or fight these battles in the AFC North that are as awful looking as they are now, where we're getting smacked around by the Bengals. The Steelers are still getting us every other game now. Like, you're the Baltimore Ravens of the future. You shouldn't be thinking about like sitting on this past reputation of the Ravens and the past of John Harbaugh. And I just think that no matter what, if the fan base sees, if you and me see that Steve Bisciotti is incapable of letting go of this friendship, family ship, whatever it's called, with Harbaugh and himself, like there's going to be real fan conversations about this team. And I'm not going to allude what that means, but everyone's going to start getting upset in a way that it's going to not be able to be untamed, uncooled down, because the years you're getting with Lamar Jackson are slowly ticking away. The years you're getting with I want to say prime Derrick Henry, but like a very capable elite level Derrick Henry are fading away. Eventually, you just got to freaking look in the mirror and see the common denominator. We always talk about this, but I think there's just a short answer, and any other way of thinking about it, I think, is delusional football.
Yeah, very well said. I mean, I would have been okay with them moving on in like 2021. Like that's when I first felt like, this might not happen with this regime. And then and then Lamar gets injured again in 2022 and you're like, okay, I guess you give him another break there. And then 2023 they have like these two great years again and still didn't capitalize. And now, it's kind of like 2019, great year. 2020, not a very good year. 21, 22. Then it's like 23, another great year. 24, a little bit worse. 25, maybe 2026, even worse. And then, maybe it'd shoot back up again. Like, I think you just got to be done with this cycle. And you said it very well. Like, he's the coach of a team with a two-time MVP, should be three-time MVP, Hall of Fame quarterback, and they're not making the playoffs. Like, head coaches get fired for missing the playoffs with bad rosters. And this is a very good roster. They had 6 Pro Bowlers. No other team in the NFL had more Pro Bowlers than the Ravens. I believe 4 teams had 6 guys in the Pro Bowl. Just not getting it done. I thought of this sort of analogy today with the Ravens turnovers and how who you blame for these crazy things that keep happening in playoff games and this year in regular season games, just these stupid turnovers, fumbles that happen, the blown leads. And it's like, I feel like you can compare it to a kid getting in trouble at school. Like, it's not the parent's fault that a kid decides to get in a fight one day or cuss out his teacher one day. But if it starts to happen a lot, you look to the parent and it's most likely bad parenting, right? It's like the same thing. If you have one crazy fumble in a playoff game, like, and it causes a loss, that's fine. John Harbaugh's not fumbling the ball. Once it starts happening every single time you lose, like, you have to look at the coaching in that scenario, and I just feel like it's time, and they haven't fixed it. It's been years. This has been happening since like 2018 in big moments, and it hasn't been fixed yet. So why would it miraculously be fixed next year? I just don't see it happening.
And I think the Steelers would be a fun situation if to flip kind of situations with them, as if they're in this prime spot of totally not controlling their destiny to make the playoffs. Their fans are going to be in the same situation where their long tenured, very well respected by the league coach is now on a totally hot seat. And the fan base probably believes that they should move on. It's two very smart organizations. And if they weren't to do a move like that, the national media would laugh in their face about it. And maybe the Ravens and Steelers have made decisions like that where the consensus is against them. And the Ravens sometimes prove them wrong. But you're almost stacking too much against you when you've seen the year that we've had with maybe it starts all the way at a GM position, all the way down to a very low quality season that you've had. It's very it's eye opening for big fans like we all are that have seen this for so long, that I think either situation, if it was the Steelers in our boat, if it is the Ravens, why wouldn't a move be made like this to not only look to the future, but also to see that that team is capable of making that change and hoping toward, like, looking farther into the future than maybe a team like the Steelers are right now, where let's say they make the playoffs, they might decide to keep Aaron Rodgers next year. is that really the greatest decision of all time? I don't know if that is. I love Aaron Rodgers. Again, I'm a big fan, but as a future decision, like we are put in this spot for a reason, and I hope the Ravens make the right one. But I think it's funny to talk about the 2017 Ravens with it too, because
In 2018.
that's a 9-7 Ravens team in 2017, and we're considering it then with a very less capable roster. Like,
yeah, and
what?
yeah, and 2018, Bishotti was basically going to fire him if they didn't make the playoffs, and they were 4-5. The Ravens were
He
1-5.
denied. Apparently, I just read it. He apparently denied like an ultimatum like that specifically, but
But he
that's
was
absolutely
thinking
true.
about it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. If that were to happen.
Yeah, and they go on a run, make the playoffs, and to your point, like they didn't win a Super Bowl, so like that run to make the playoffs might have really hurt this organization and kept a Super Bowl or two away. Like you think about these things, it's crazy. Like the Tyler Boyd 4th and 12 play against the Ravens in 2017. Like if the Ravens got to stop there, like they're probably not drafting Lamar Jackson. It's crazy how many things at the end of a year go your team's way or doesn't go your team's way and ends up doing the opposite later on. It is crazy how this sport works. So just thinking about that, we talked with Henry when we had him on for the Steelers preview before the game. The team that loses this game might be better off for their future. And I think all three of us agreed. It's funny, but like it very well might be true. So we'll see what happens. Like, what would your confidence level, I guess 0 to 100%, be that you right now that you think Bishotti would decide to move on?
I think it's a 60%. Like I'd said a bit ago that I felt that every loss meant that this percent moved up like 15%. But the more and more I hear long tenured NFL guys, I think Bruce Arians said it today on the Pat McAfee show. He said there's no chance that the Ravens do this, where they move on from someone like Harbaugh and that type of situation where there's like what we are kind of scared of, as in Harbaugh can present that you had injuries, you had a lack of depth at defensive tackle at the beginning of the year, and a rough start of coaching defensively, to an offensive line that's not very capable. Like you can complain about some things, but also like the best coaches make do with what they are given, as in like in the NBA and the MLB. Delusional franchises just stick with the same crap every single year. The best of the best that are trying to win games, they will actually flip everything upside down in just a chance. If it is just 5% or less decimal points of chance that they can be a great team. And we have 90% of it, 80% of it, as in a team and a roster capable of it, but in our minds, not the coach. And the current winning philosophy, like think about the Eagles. If the Eagles the last 3 or 4 years, if they hadn't dominated the NFL, like playing as good as they are right now, like a true brute of an NFL team and a face of the NFL as a franchise, if they aren't doing this perfect, you think Sirianni is the head coach of the Eagles this year? No chance. Like their roster is just too good, and their franchise is that upset with not being great. Like there's a true desire to be great, and I think that goes back to Bishotti, where it's going to rest on his shoulders. This is a great comment here. I don't know Sabri Fayez. I'm so sorry. Please comment how you say that if you want. Shanahan had his QB out for most of the year, and his roster is the most injured in football, and they're most likely going to be the 1 seed.
At least right
Maybe
now.
going to be
Or are they
the
right
1 seed.
now?
I don't know. They
They
sure
might
have a
be.
great chance at it. I think if they win their last 2 games, they are the 1 seed. That's true. But I don't think they are right now because they play Seattle and like the Rams, some crazy
Yeah,
last 2.
because they're behind the Seahawks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll be something. Like I
but
I
it's
I
still
wish I
true.
could compare him to someone like Shanahan or someone like McVay.
We
It's almost unfair to him. Like those guys are just miles above him. Like we can't put him on the same level as those guys. Like I, I would I would think Kyle Shanahan on the Baltimore Ravens last 3-4 years has won 2 or 3 Super Bowls by now. Like it really is about getting the right guy. I think it's possible for the Ravens to go into that search, but
I
also I don't think they're going to nail this offensive guru pick we all want. I think everyone's still very set on
it's
this Ravens defensive organization of the past, still living in the past, which infuriates me.
I have a very strong feeling they would hire Jesse Minter if
Very possible. If that was a guy that they interviewed, yeah.
like, and I would not be happy with that.
Still keeps the family kind of vibe of those kind of guys they keep
Yeah,
around. Yeah. I would hope they just totally explore new waters, uncharted
I
territory. So
agree. Um,
we'll see.
Great comment from our guy KP. If they keep Harbaugh past the season, it tells me everything I need to know. The higher ups don't care about winning, so why should I? I mean, I agree. Like, if you don't move on from Harbaugh after this year, what else do you think is going to happen in terms of winning football games? And I feel like from a business perspective, take winning out of it. I think you could look at firing Harbaugh as the safe, sorry, keeping Harbaugh, you could look at it as like the safe decision that maybe it doesn't end up going very well. And I think firing Harbaugh, you look at it as like this is a little risky, but there's a decent chance that it ends up going very, very well. And I'm talking about this from a business perspective. And as an owner of an NFL team, as one, one of the richest people, um, whatever, like I feel like you would think with like thought process number two, right? Like you would think that's how a businessman thinks. But I don't know, man. We'll see.
The question here from Sabri, like that they just submitted, like if Harbaugh can't win this division at its weakest, how low is the bar? Made me think that it almost is a little unfair to be giving Harbaugh this short leash when you lose Lamar for 3/4 games. You've lost your defensive line staple in Matabike. If that were to happen, similar situation were to happen to a new head coach, would they be in any better of a situation than they are right now? Like, are we willing to
Good
take that chance
point.
as a fan base? Yes. But again, from a business perspective, if you get a new guy and he starts that rocky, his first season as the Ravens head coach starts that rocky, you then have the franchise and the fan base again questioning, do you need a different head coach? Is this guy not right? And it's one season in. And you don't have all the time in the world with Lamar Jackson. So, yeah, John Harbaugh could be losing all the attention of everyone in that locker room, but he also could not be. If there's players that are still willing to say in their press conferences that Harbaugh is not the reason this is happening, or we've got to play better, blah 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 blah. There is something to be said where there is a real chance he's still the coach next year. There's a real chance.
Definitely.
And I think that most people don't fully see that picture as in giving Harbaugh a little bit more credit to, yeah, we're a, what is it, 7-8 team? Are we 7-8? 7-8 franchise with a 2-time MVP quarterback and a great looking roster. Like, if you take away the MVP for 4 of those games, that this is not impressive. It's also a pretty good showing of his skills and able to bring this team back from that rut, and also keeping them in the mix nowadays. We're still seeing a Lamar Jackson that feels dinged up, looks dinged up, and it might go back to a roster. Like maybe the roster needs to be constructed differently. I'm not saying this is not a John Harbaugh firing podcast. I want that situation to happen. It's not a bad thing against him. It's just what we want as the future. But also we should give a little bit more credit to Harbaugh and what he's done with the season compared to what might happen with a less composed coach of the future, maybe. Is that
And
ridiculous?
it's not ridiculous, and that's why he is a good coach, because there is a very high floor. Um, and I understand you're sort of playing devil's advocate there. And I understand Steve Bisciotti could be thinking like that. I understand how you could have that thought process. I just think it's like a cowardly way to think.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
like I think that would be, like in the nicest way possible. I think that would be such a coward move to keep him. Um, like it literally would be scared. You would be scared of what could happen, like what could go wrong if you decide to make a change.
Yeah.
I talk about this all the time. From KP, like all these well-respected organizations who seems like are in the playoffs almost every year have fired head coaches. Packers firing McCarthy, Eagles firing Doug Peterson, Eagles firing Andy Reid, Seahawks firing Pete Carroll. I feel like it usually works out. Like, I'm not going to talk about the Jets firing someone and it getting worse, or, the Giants doing that, because those are terrible organizations. But when there is a Philadelphia, a Seattle, a Green Bay, and they make one of these calculated decisions, which it would be from Baltimore, I think it almost always works out. So that's something else to think about. And then another like rebuttal I would have to that point is like Harbaugh is a special teams coordinator. The Ravens have to have two coordinators that are like completely in charge of their side of the ball. Do I strongly believe that teams should have offensive head coaches? Yes. At the same time, having a defensive head coach is way better than having a special teams coordinator as your head coach, because then at least you still have the same defensive coordinator all the time. But I think you have to go the offensive route. I think it's way easier to find a good defensive coordinator than it is to find a good offensive coordinator. I saw a tweet sometime today that basically said, like, great defensive play callers are available all the time. Like every offseason, there's like 3 or 4 guys that got fired from a head coaching job or looking for an upgrade. Like, there's always guys available. It's not the same on offense. So if you can have a guy that really has a feel for things on the offensive side of the ball in the NFL these days and can be your offensive coordinator for, 5-10 years, while just like continuing to have that defensive guy that is so much more readily available, I think you have to do that. I can't understand not doing that. I just can't.
Yeah, I can't either. It'll be I can't wait for I don't know what they call it, like a end of season press conference. I don't remember what.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Black Monday.
No. Where someone like DaCosta is asked about all this, where if he's not going to sit there and take blame almost for not having an elite D line ready behind Nnamdi Madubuike. He's not going to take blame for seeing like a pretty good offensive line going into the season on paper, and then they lose that kind of look by the end of the year. What both of them kind of say regarding all the questions, like this press conference, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, maybe yesterday, that James Hensley, Jeff Zrebiec, very high up reporters that are there every week to cover the Baltimore Ravens, both asking about John Harbaugh's future. These questions, especially if the Ravens lose these last two, are going to get uglier and uglier. It's going to get to more people, and that means players as well. Like, eventually, there is going to be a quote that you're talking to that you mentioned earlier, where a player is just going to be mad that this season has gone the way it is, and they're going to say something they may or may not regret. Where it is, someone like, or maybe the leadership in this team, whatever they say, is not right and is not winning football. They're going to start saying this type of stuff as long as the organization is heading in this direction. And it will be probably the clearest idea we get of how the Ravens are going to handle all this. So,
yeah,
that'll be interesting. Should you want to talk about this comment, or you want to move on to the Packers?
Real quick, fish stick, Mike McDowell knows ball. Look where he's at, 100%. And then KP's on fire tonight with the comments. If the Ravens are the top tier, this is from KP, by the way, in case anyone's listening and not watching. If the Ravens are the top tier organizations that they claim to be, then they should be confident that they can hit on a coach. And if not, guess what? Fire him and get another one. And we mention this all the time, Zach. Like, it's not going to get much worse than what happened this year. Like, you might be 7-10. And then another comment from KP. Harbaugh literally said, "Yeah, I wish Henry could have played more. Like, what do you do? What is your purpose? His headset must be connected to a Wendy's drive-through." Like, bro, you can talk to Todd. But this is, like, so true. I mentioned this in the post-game reaction. Every time the Ravens don't run the ball enough or Derrick Henry doesn't get the ball enough, he's asked about it in the post-game presser, and he's like, yeah, like, that was a mistake. Yeah, I wish we would have gotten in the ball more. You are in charge. You are the number one guy in charge. Like, it is up to you. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
And also, like, the whole, like, I don't know if he mentioned the running backs coach, something about that, where it just kind of rubbed me wrong, where he was saying, yeah, I think they were just working on that kind of, like, rotation, blah, 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 blah. And Henry said that Mitchell should be in the game, blah, 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 blah. If the first snap happens, one of those first plays they ran was some blown up play. It was either right at the line of scrimmage or it was a loss from Mitchell. Mm-hmm. Again, we love Keaton Mitchell here, but it just wasn't his game. Right then, why would you not say, it's Derrick Henry, you should probably be in the game. You're the head coach of the football team.
First of all, a comment from Syndicate, Harbs wants to win his way, not win. Those are different things. I think there's some truth to that. It feels like Harbaugh doesn't have a feel for the game. Like, you talked about this, Zach, like the rotation. Keaton Mitchell and Derrick Henry basically rotating drives. Okay, that's fine. Don't keep rotating drives when it's the final drive of the game and you have to close it out. And you have a top 3 running back in the NFL. Like, how would you not think, like, oh, we should probably put Derrick Henry in the game now, even though it's Keaton Mitchell's turn to come in? Like, why are they rotating? Why isn't it like 1st and 10, Derrick Henry carry, 2nd and 4, toss to Keaton Mitchell? Why aren't they doing that? Why are they rotating drives? Like, that is crazy. I don't know. There's so many things that I just don't understand. I don't know, man.
There's an interesting comment. Someone just fish stick. Analysts, players, and coaches know that the O-line is a joke.
Yeah.
And that could be to roster construction. It could be, but I'm not totally sure I want to do that. You've had all year. I'm just very like someone like Shannon Sharp, Ocho Cinco, their podcast. I think the headline of one of their videos is Harbaugh needs to go. Shannon Sharp is a very well respected NFL player. Yeah, he's in a bunch of crazy crap too. He's as fun as he is respected, I guess. Like, if he's going on a podcast and believes this type of thing and is airing this type of thing out, bashing Filet every week. We're again pointing back to this look of insanity. You look insane as an organization if you don't change both of those things next year. And that is like, you have to change those things, or people like Shannon Sharp, who are former great players for your organization at one point in their career, laughing at you in how they're handling this season. Terrell Suggs earlier, like this year, was so he had been on so many different media platforms. I don't really know why, but all of a sudden he just was on everything. So many interviews, said so many great things and respectable things. Has not said really anything besides tweeting out some funny gifs about the team and reactionary news, and like there isn't like he I don't think he wants to go on some podcast and talk about a situation like that either, where a player that can respect him the very most, like Terrell Suggs does, and be scared to air out their message of what they think about the team anymore. It's scary times. It's ugly times.
Yeah, man. It's we can talk about it literally
Yeah, we
for
could.
hours, but like to put a bow on it, I just think it's time, and we're going to talk about this both weeks the rest of the season, and if anyone out there wants Harbaugh to be gone, I hate to say it, but like you probably have to root for the Ravens to lose, cuz like even if they don't make the playoffs, if they finish this year out with 2 wins or like a win over Pittsburgh at Acrisure Stadium, like that changes the vibe a lot. Like ending the season on 3 losses in a row versus 2 wins in a row, massive difference.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you make the playoffs or not.
Yeah, sputtering out basically,
Mm-hmm.
compared to a like willful end
Yeah.
of the season. It's a
Yeah.
different vibe.
Yeah.
So we can go into a different sort of future looking, which is the Packers. We're not going to have a preview this week as we're celebrating the holidays. Happy holidays to everyone watching. I should have said that at the beginning. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Please stay safe, stay warm. Actually, it's going to be like freaking 60 here in Indiana
Really?
for Christmas. Freaking nuts. I
Let
mean,
me
again,
check in
stupid
Virginia.
Midwest bull crap. But also, towards the future, there is a primetime matchup on Peacock, and that is the Ravens traveling to Lambeau against the Green Bay Packers. It looks like Lamar Jackson's not going to play. It looks like Jordan Love is going to play. They're favored by 2.5. This is not a preview, but we're going to be giving some basic thoughts on what we think about the Packers, and also maybe a score prediction to end it, as we're going to have a little break between now and the post game of that show, for that show. So, Brad, Packers, what are your thoughts on
They're 9-5-1.
them? And one.
That tie against the Cowboys was a crazy game.
Nuts.
Yeah, kind of like a mini preview from Zach and I here because of Christmas, and we had to go live at 10 p.m. on December 23rd because that was kind of the only time both of us were available this week. And so, yeah, like I didn't do a ton of research into Green Bay, didn't watch any film on them, but they were 9-3-1. They lost 2 games in a row at Denver, at Chicago, 2 tough road games. So like,
Yeah.
you gotta think about that. Also, Jordan Love got injured against Chicago with the concussion, and they have to play 6 days later against the Ravens. But he was limited today, Tuesday. So
Weird.
I think that's a good sign. I mean, it's definitely a good sign, but yeah, I think that means he'll probably play. But I'm not going to say for sure. If not, Malik Willis also dealing with a right shoulder injury. He says he'll be good to go if they need him. So I think he's one of the best backups in the league. I think he might be like a top 32 quarterback in the league. Like every time he needs to play, the offense moves the
He's
ball.
good.
The Packers, they have, I was looking at some of their stats, they are third in offensive EPA per play. They are
Jeez.
19th in defensive EPA per play. So offense is really, really good. Defense, I'd say, is about average. Especially, Micah Parsons has the torn ACL. That was really rough to lose him. Comment from Ryan. There's no report on Jordan Love being
Right.
expected to go, but being limited, 4 days before the game, like
Yeah, it's shocking.
that's definitely like a good sign.
Yeah.
We'll probably know more in the coming days, but yeah, the Packers definitely have a good roster. Like looking at their depth chart, um, they got good. I don't think they have a number one, maybe not even like a good number two. But Christian Watson and Jaden Reed both make a ton of plays. They both
Yeah.
have come back from injury this year. Romeo Dobbs can make some acrobatic catches. Dontavian Wicks, same with him. Matthew Golden, the first round pick, who I was really, really high on, hasn't had the best year, but there have been a couple games where he's come up big for them. Um, then I think they have a pretty good offensive line too. Rasheed Walker, Zach Tom, their right tackle's injured right now. What was their tight end's name? Tucker
Kraft.
Kraft
Yeah.
is injured. What was it? Torn ACL. He was having a really good year.
Yeah.
And then Josh Jacobs. It was sort of Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry that one year in free agency. Um, and the Ravens ended up going with Derrick Henry. Josh Jacobs has been solid for them. And then like on the defensive side of the ball, obviously losing, Micah Parsons made their defense elite. Was really getting after the passer, getting a lot of sacks. I'd say, other than that, it's a pretty average defense. Xavier McKinney, one of their safeties, I think is really, really good.
Yeah.
I think Quay Walker's a solid player at inside linebacker. I know Rashawn Gary's a solid edge rusher, but like no one really pops off the screen at you. There's no Miles Garrett. There's no Max Crosby, because of the Micah Parsons injury right now. I wouldn't say there's like a lockdown corner either. But just like a very, very solid team. I'd say before they traded for Micah Parsons, um, the Packers were like the most B plus A minus team of all time. Just like their whole entire team is just B plus guys.
Yeah.
And Micah Parsons I felt like made them a Super Bowl contender, and him going down really sucks for them. But I still think this is a team that's definitely better than the Ravens right now, even if Lamar was playing, and that doesn't seem very likely. Um, so I'm not feeling too confident about this one, especially being in Lambeau.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the toughest places to play too.
Yeah. I love how this team plays whenever Tyler Huntley is the quarterback. It's so energetic, relaxed, confident in Snoop's play. It's hilarious. You see Snoop use his legs more, which kind of brings back the old option stuff where the QB actually takes it. We've lost that idea with Lamar now since these injuries and all. But flipping it to the Packers, the Packers are kind of constructed the exact way the Ravens beat someone, as in late this year. There's no team really that looks this way that the Ravens want to play more. The Packers want to run the ball. They want to force feed Josh Jacobs. They'll give it to him 25 touches without a doubt if it's working. And then they try to get these wide receivers who aren't like elite. They're good wide receivers. They're not next level. And that's been somewhat of an issue for the Ravens defense the last few weeks. Now I guess Stephon Diggs too, showing it last week with, again, another freaking wide receiver getting over 100 yards in a game. It happens every time. I'm not totally sure there's a guy on Green Bay that can do that unless it is by big plays. I think Christian Watson is absolutely capable of that. He probably will do that, but it'll only be on, 3 or 4 catches. It'll be big play type of stuff because he's a go ball win it guy. So the Packers are made for the Ravens to beat them in that way. And they're now losing their superstar player on defense, like you said, Micah. They still have a great looking defense, and execution will be what wins them the game, but also the Packers have always struggled with stopping the run. They get rid of Kenny Clark to get Micah, and now they have none for now this late stretch of trying to make the playoffs. Like Ravens fans should feel confident in going to Lambeau and playing this team because Brad, correct me if I'm wrong, way back when Tyler Huntley had the same situation playing the Packers and almost beat them. And now it's just a better team and with a lot more to play for. You would think the message again from Harbaugh would be back against the wall type of thing. You have to win for us to even have a chance anymore. Let's try and put pressure on the Steelers tomorrow. Even though you couldn't freaking put pressure on this team last week, still, if the Ravens, like last week, they couldn't get the full, like they couldn't muster up a big freaking effort to win that game, I don't have confidence they can do it this week. But you could see the Ravens play their way, and funny enough, the way John Harbaugh wants to play to win a game, like someone talked about earlier, like in this game, the Packers are made for that. They're like the perfect puzzle piece that fits together when you're talking about the Ravens as in a yin and yang situation. So it'll be fun to watch. The defense is gonna have to win the game. We shouldn't have to say that, but it is true. It's gonna have to be a 2 or 3 turnover event for a win. You started that way last week with the Patriots. You just couldn't finish it. So maybe you see this same Ravens look next week because you sure have the roster to do so. But we'll have to see. Again, Packers are freaking sweet. Like from the beginning of the year, I think all of us as Ravens fans have had a respect for Jordan Love. I don't think he's super great, but I think he's a very, very good quarterback. And seeing him play with the weapons he has that aren't, great level pass catching threats, it makes me think about Lamar in the past and also that Jordan Love is capable of being a great quarterback in the NFL. So if Drake May can throw for 300 last week, then Jordan Love could throw for 400 this week with, I guess, technically lesser passing threats. So we'll have to see. KP Zach Orr is going to have to win the game for us. Yeah, that a few weeks ago we wouldn't have been saying is that horrible of a thought, but nowadays, you got anything else to add for Green Bay, or you want to drop a little score prediction here, Bradley?
I don't think I have that much else to add besides the fact that like I would not be surprised if the Ravens win.
Right.
I think if it's Jordan Love and Tyler Huntley, you're fighting an uphill battle. If there's any other combinations of quarterbacks starting in this game, I would not be surprised if the Ravens win. But score predictions, the over-under is 40.5, which is so low.
Ugly game incoming.
Vegas is predicting what? 21-19 Packers victory, 22-19 Packers victory. If you look at the spread and the over-under, that's about, 20, you could say 23-20, whatever. It's about what they're predicting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's that close. I think it's my prediction would be that Love plays and Lamar doesn't in terms of this prediction. And I in that case, I think it's going to be like 27-17 or something like that. I think it's going to be tough.
I think the Ravens will keep it one score. There's something about the Ravens right now in one score games. Yeah. So I think they'll keep it close. Like Huntley's still capable. The offense can still rally around him. They'll probably score more points total than 40. It might depend on how well the Packers did too, but still, I think it'll be one score. I just think when it's like a 7 or 8 point game and it comes to 7 minutes or less in the football game and the Ravens have the ball, we're not scoring.
Yeah.
We're not going to make that big play to score, which is funny because I saw I forgot what year it was, 2021 Bears game where Huntley goes down with like 30 seconds, whatever it was, 40 seconds. minute maybe and scores a touchdown with
Mm-hmm.
just an awful group of weapons and wins that
Mm-hmm.
game against a healthy Bears team.
Yeah,
So it's definitely possible, but
it
I
is.
think the Ravens lose it, and then it'll probably be. Your score wasn't that bad. I don't mind that.
What did I
Maybe
even
some
say?
more
I forgot. 20.
27-17.
Yeah.
Maybe we get. I think. I think we get 20, and they'll get something stupid like 28 or 29. I'm thinking close to you. I think that all the Packers have to do is just keep it just out of reach, and
Yeah,
it is
and they'll
7
be
or 8
fine.
points, and that's out of reach nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Ravens can score now. Like the Patriots game where Huntley is leading
Yeah.
drives that it feels like the Ravens are going to take over the game. We are too accustomed now to the Ravens crumbling at the end and
Mm-hmm.
losing that situation. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Final comment here from KP. I'm keep it real. Bad as it sounds, I don't even want the Ravens to make the playoffs because Lamar might not even play again, and they're going to get blasted in the wild card, which probably means Harbaugh stays. It's yeah, we've talked about it. Like we're Ravens fans. We're not ever gonna watch the game and be like, no, they got a first down.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
never gonna be like that. It's like the Patriots game. I was at the beginning. I had when I finally bought into thinking. Like I said, I got
Mm-hmm.
comfortable, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, we could go to the playoffs. We could
Yeah.
do it. And
Yeah.
then it immediately gets gut punched out of me, and
Mm-hmm.
I lose that thought process fully and just fully believe we're going to lose the game after Lamar gets hurt. Like, yeah, it feels like that right now, where
Yeah.
we have to be convinced as a fan, any of us watching this game, we have to be convinced that we have a chance for us to be bought in again. And I don't think that chance comes until what is it, 6 o'clock on Sunday after the Steelers?
Yeah. Did they play
And
it one?
I don't remember, honestly. I think they might play
Well,
later, but
it's at
I
one or
maybe not.
four. They play the
Yeah, and
Browns.
after that game, that is when our hearts will be ripped out of us or not. Like, and I say that as in the following week, there's going to be nothing to cheer for. It's going to be the
Mm-hmm.
house is burning down again, and we'll have to see. But right now, we are in a untrusting phase as fans with this organization.
Yeah.
So sadly, if it was flipped the other way around, where the Steelers played the first game like Saturday and we played Sunday, like we would be a lot more hopeful right now because we can think about not a
Like,
lot more,
yeah,
but a little bit more
a
hopeful
little
right
bit
now,
more.
thinking we get to watch and see if our hopes are alive or not before we
Mm-hmm.
get up and energetic for
Yeah.
a big game.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah. And it is funny because we got to lay it out since this is basically our preview for the week. If either the Steelers beat the Browns or the Ravens lose to the Packers, Ravens season is over. The funny thing is, I could see the Steelers losing to the Browns.
Sure could. No DK anymore. That's a
No
big deal.
DK, no TJ Watt in Cleveland. Mike Tomlin struggles in Cleveland. I could see it happening. And it would be hilarious if after this week, the Ravens are playing for the division in week 18. I mean, that would be a
Maybe still
dive.
without Lamar. Actually, they could still be playing for the division without Lamar Jackson.
Diabolical. But yeah, that's the scenario if anyone didn't know.
The freaking ridiculousness of the NFL year late in the season. So
Yep.
we appreciate you all for this. I wanted to say extended Q&A, but it's not. Like we're usually this long. Subscribe if you have not already. Like the video. Comment your score prediction. You want to give some shout outs?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It's KP, Fish Stick, Ryan, Syndicate, Sabri, Dylan Wolf.
Shout out Dylan.
Shout out. Missing anyone? Maddie came through for a little. Michael Mockler asked, "Can we get some super chats? Let's get some super chats going for post game if we're in a very depressed or happy mood. Maybe I don't know if we're going to be too happy either way." Michael Yeager, Allen was in here. Dawson Hess, shout out. Yeah, appreciate you all for coming through. We'll see you guys after that. Happy holidays from me and Mr. Bradley. Enjoy your Christmas. And we will see you guys Saturday night.
Yep. Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a good one. And we'll see you guys. Peace.